All right, so we're back with part two, and part two is going to be a Venezuelan arepa or Colombian, depending on which side you're on.
It's Venezuela. Sorry, guys.
We're gonna stay on the Venezuela side because that represents ORIUNDI a little bit more in this case. And John has brought us a fantastic little recipe here that he's going to utilize our famous Calabrian Nduja here once again. So absolutely. What do we got here, John?
So we got our nice pieces of lamb. I think lamb is a delicious menu item. It's very Calabrese. It's very gamey, but if cooked correctly, it's delicious. Lamb lollipops, in my opinion, are some of the best. We're gonna get ourselves some of our salt over here. That's it. That's all you need. One package of good salt. You don't need all this other stuff, garlic powder, onion powder, none of that. Just salt. Very good salt. This is a French salt. I know us Italians aren't really supposed to like them, but they do some stuff good. So we're gonna put it on here, get it nice and hot. And as you see, Anthony made us our arepas over here.
Yeah, a little bit of pre-made, so you know we can get these going in the shot. But first time making arepas, by the way, so you know we'll see how they go. John put a little more trust in me than maybe he should have, but you know
he's a pizzaiolo.
We're here to learn. Yeah,
give him that.
I can work with some dough. That I have some experience in. But actually, that said, while John's cooking it up a little bit over here with our lamb, I wanna talk a little bit about Italians in Venezuela. Since obviously we're in Miami, there's a huge Hispanic population, a large Venezuelan population, and a large part of that Venezuelan population has Italian ancestry. And you're like, well, Italians went to Venezuela. Yeah, actually 300,000 entered in the 2 decades after World War II. That is an insane amount. And just out and about talking to people of Venezuelan descent, the normal feedback I usually get is their grandparents were from Sicily, typically. It's what I hear the most. And Sicily was the #1 region of immigration to Venezuela.
Or just to Venezuela?
In Venezuela specifically. And then #2 was Campania. There was also representation from other regions like Abruzzo, Puglia, and then some northeastern regions. I feel like people from Veneto just went everywhere. Right. But definitely very Sicilian. So from the research, a lot of, this shouldn't be super surprising either. A lot of the big cities are where the immigrants went.
The name itself, Venezia, Venezuela.
Exactly. The name of Venezuela comes from Venezia, which is obviously Venice. The cities that the Venezuelans settled in were typically Caracas, Maracaibo, and also in the Miranda state. Some of the earlier immigration waves went to the countryside in agricultural colonies, which is very common in South America. You see that heavily in Brazil, also in Argentina, and even places like Paraguay and Chile. And then I also wanted to cover a couple of main industries that they were in, that these immigrants, because Italian immigrants usually are good at certain things, especially depending on where they go. In Venezuela specifically, it was heavily focused in construction, manufacturing, retail, which is basically small business, like shop owners, agriculture, like I mentioned before, and then skilled trades, a lot of artisans. I know some people personally whose grandparents were like shoemakers or tailors or stuff like that.
My nonna was a tailor.
Right, which was a very common skill, especially from, again, Calabrian, Sicilian populations that had these very particular skills. So I just wanted to cover a little bit on that because obviously we're making a Venezuelan-inspired dish here, and just wanted to show how important the impact was. With a lot of the different press going around Venezuela in recent history, there's a lot of really cool pieces of Italian history that went through that country. Mostly post-World War II, like your family came to the US post-World War II. Mine was much before. But Venezuela, Canada, Australia, a lot of places that had their waves of immigration a lot later. So a lot of people our age would have grandparents from Italy versus great-grandparents in my case. So.
In your travels and the people that you met that are Italo-Venezuelani, like what is kind of the, I don't want to say like the thought process, but I feel like in different parts of the world, different diasporas, there's a different element of how people think or associate with being Italian. So what would that be for Italo-Venezuelani? Like, do you think that they're positioned a bit different? Do you think they're more proud of being Italian versus, I don't know, someone in Paraguay or, you know, somewhere else? Like what from your experience kind of suggests some of that?
I think in general, the post-World War II immigrants ended up, you know, so again, people our age, their grandparents, so they typically have Italian citizenship. Okay. Their grandparents or aunts, they may have aunts and uncles in Italy, so they have a lot more connection to the country. Right. So I think like on a modern Italy level, they're a lot more connected than the Italian American or the Italian Brazilian, for example. I think they maintain those ties because of the fact that they're much less removed from Italy. That's what I see more so. They're definitely prideful of it. Definitely more people that speak the language, oftentimes even dialects like Sicilian, are still maintained because their grandparents spoke it when, you know, the grandkids or their children were growing up. I've heard this firsthand. And because of the state that Venezuela is in, you know, politically, and so a lot of people have gone back to Italy or they've immigrated here and they've ended up being surrounded by their family, their close friends, which a lot of times were also part of that Italian-Venezuelan community.
That's fair. Have there been any more unique things? Like obviously I know depending on where a group immigrates to, whether it's in the countryside or the city, you have these kind of microcosms of distinct kind of cultures. Is there kind of a difference between an Italian in Venezuela that went to the countryside and remained within their culture versus someone that went to Caracas or Valencia, sorry. Sure. And some of the larger, you know, cities within the country?
To be honest, I don't actually know the answer to that one because almost, at least like in real life, a majority of the people that I've met are from Caracas. I see. So I have more of the city view. I mean, I know some others that have settled in other parts of Venezuela, but I would say Caracas is the one that I see the most. And a lot of their families were like small business owners. Okay. So it was when I was talking kind of about the retail and just like local commerce, they were definitely heavily into that. So, but looks like we got a nice little cook on these lambs.
You want to let these lambs sit now? That's the worst thing for anyone at home. You never want to touch your meat unless after 10 minutes. Sure. You know, you want to let that internal temperature get in there. You want to get all the juices and everything going. At the end, we'll put a little salt, but that's it. Very simple, very quick, very fast. You want that nice crust. See the nice crust out there? And we'll cut it up. We'll put it in arepa, and I'll let you do the honors. This thing's now nice and hot, so we can put it.
All right, let's see how.
A good oil here. Let's see.
I might honestly do this with my hands.
There we go. There we go. So I know some people may be saying, why would he use the same pan? I think the fat composition from lamb is delectable. So for me, I want to be able to use that same flavor within the arepa itself. Cook it within the arepa and
cannot agree more.
Get a little bit more of that much needed sabor.
Nice. Yeah, I think I don't have a huge knowledge base of arepas as a whole. But especially living in Miami, I've eaten them a lot more than I had prior. A great dish, definitely for sure. Can pair with a lot of stuff.
What's your go-to place here in town for arepas?
There was a place that I used to go to a decent bit when in my prior job. That was, I want to say, was it Wynwood or Midtown? It's called La Latina.
Okay.
That was definitely a spot. It was pretty much like I was like, was tequeños and arepas. Okay. Pretty much what I would. And then I think they actually were also in that Julian Henry's place in downtown Miami that has like, whatever, 25 different restaurant options, like a giant cafeteria. There's obviously, I always don't know how to pronounce it either. I don't know if it's doggies or dogies.
Doggies.
Doggies. Yeah. I always mistake the pronunciation.
I always thought it was doggies.
Yeah,
I've never actually heard someone else call it.
But yeah, that's obviously the classic one. I would say most people would say that's their favorite. And then Pepito's Plaza is another one. I want to say they have one in Doral, but I've only been to the one in Brickell.
I don't know that one.
So yeah, that's definitely a very frequented late night spot in Brickell. But I mean, as you could imagine, when you're eating like basically cornbread, which is what it is, with some nice filling of meat and cheese, I think it's
when you're gonna go wrong.
Yeah, especially when you drank a lot, it's good to soak up the alcohol. But what about yourself? What would you say?
In town, I'd probably say Doggies is like the standard one. I haven't really explored Doral as much to the point of where I would like to. I feel like they probably have, some good quality over there. Obviously, it's the biggest diaspora of Venezuelans here.
Probably almost anywhere in the U.S. Yeah,
in the U.S. So I would assume they've got some pretty good places. There's a spot in Pompano. I'm forgetting its name. I don't know why, but it's very, very good. Their cachapa is also great. Obviously, not an arepa, but their cachapa is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, can't go wrong with Venezuelan. You've never been to Venezuela, right?
No. Have you been?
I have never been, no. But
Obviously hard in the last 10 years, let's say, but we would have had to have gone when we were kids.
no, for sure. But I think, it's someplace where hopefully we can all visit at some point soon.
Sure.
Yeah,
it looks like a beautiful country.
It looks like a very beautiful country. Would love to be able to see the Italian culture kind of still there. Obviously, my other side's Portuguese, so there's a lot of Portuguese influence there too.
Yeah, huge.
You mentioned all like the shopkeepers and stuff being Italian, but pretty much all the Portuguese are mechanics or bakers.
Everywhere they went. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's actually there's a bakery about 10 minutes from here that is it's a Portuguese Venezuelan bakery.
Oh yeah.
Majestic Bakehouse. Yeah.
And they even wear the traditional outfits. Yeah.
No, it's super cool. They have like a good mix of the Venezuelan and the.
Well, all of Coral Way there's a lot of Portuguese restaurants.
Yeah, there's a couple Portuguese restaurants.
And Spanish too. I don't know why there of all places, but all Portuguese and actual Spanish. So.
No, it is cool because you would never imagine that. But that's another thing I'll have to try though too. There are some Italian-Venezuelan restaurants out in Doral and there's actually an Italian-Venezuelan bakery too. Which we were speaking of. There's this in Broward County, Doris Market and Bakery, who I'm not sure, they may be Italian-Venezuelan because when I was in there was a mix of Venezuelan, Spanish, and Italian being spoken from someone. I don't know if he was the owner or part of the family or something like that, but plus the name is like curious of like, this seems a little bit like probably not Italian-American and probably not Italian, so it might be somewhere else. But yeah, I definitely would like to make it out that way, try some more of their stuff. The interesting part though, especially with the post-World War II arrivals, I don't see as much of an influence in the food. So I don't think you could, like...
That is interesting.
The US, Argentina, Brazil, there's like clear cut, okay, the Italian immigrants brought this.
The only ones would be Australia, I feel like.
Yeah.
I
have not been there, but from what I've heard, yes. Yeah. Oh, you have? Okay.
I've been there. It's a very big community. It's very thriving. Like, obviously.
A lot of Calabrians.
But, like a lot of places, a lot of the immigrants kind of stay together, whether it's the Italians with the Croatians, the Italians with the Lebanese, like all the people.
Greeks.
Yeah, Greeks, a lot of them as well, Turks, all went there post-World War II. Like, they all stay together. They obviously have all opened up restaurants and everything. And it's a cool culture. And it actually goes further than I thought. Italians in Australia is like, I think it goes back over 150 years. There was some presence there. I know that they started the wine industry there as well. So it's a cool culture for sure. 'Cause you're just like, how the hell did this guy end up all the way down here? And you see some of those interviews where it's like, yeah, I left my whole family and I went to the furthest known land on the planet. And it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a day just to get back to Italy on a plane from there. It's like 20 hours. Yeah, the boat, it's like a month. It's like 2 weeks to get here, probably a month to get there. Yeah, wild. But I mean, overall, again, even with the Italian Venezuelans that I've known, it seems like it's pretty much kind of Italian food and Venezuelan food. Maybe just because their Italian food stayed, let's just use the term more precise or more according to what you would see in Italy, and they didn't combine as much like Italian American or Argentinian cuisine or something like that. But yeah, there's not too much. Like, I've seen some people messing around with stuff, but it's not like, oh, like, okay, milanesa in Argentina, Uruguay, or spaghetti and meatballs in the US. Like, you don't see. They do have this thing called pasticcio, which is funny because that's also what the Greeks call it. But it's like a lasagna with bechamel, ham. It's a little bit Latinized from what you would find as a lasagna in Italy. So that's probably one of the more interesting ones I found. There's definitely some baked goods too. But overall, like major plates, not too much. Yeah, their traditional plates are just like, obviously you could say they've been influenced by the Spanish or indigenous cultures or whatever, like the arepa, which is obviously corn comes from the indigenous culture, and then whatever they fill it with is from all different various cultures. But yeah, very, very interesting. I'll have to look into more why that is, but I'm not sure. It's very interesting why, because their neighbors to the south have, like, you go to São Paulo, you go to southern Brazil, you go to Argentina, Uruguay, like that food was clearly.
I mean, there's probably something to do with the politics of the time period.
That too.
You know, I think obviously pre-World War II, Italians were seen in a certain light.
Yeah.
And obviously within a lot of the with a lot of the governments at the time in South America, right? There's the whole, you know, concept of blanqueamiento in Argentina and some of the other things. I think Italians were very much looked at with more graceful arms versus post-World War II. I think there was obviously stigmas and certain things. So maybe there was just a component of assimilation, right? That was just very different from pre and post that
Sure.
may have impacted that, you know? So we'll see. We'll see how these turn out.
They look good.
They're homemade. They're very much homemade.
Yeah.
We're gonna let that go here for now. We'll move this. And then we're going to start to cut our lamb. We're gonna do our lamb. We also have a couple other things here too. So we've got a little salsa verde. This is with cilantro, garlic, salt, Parmesan cheese, and olive oil. Very simple. It takes you a couple minutes to do.
Beautiful color.
Some pickled onions as well for some flavor. I think it'll offset, you know, this kind of richness from here with the Nduja, the spiciness. So we'll add that in. Then obviously you can't have a Venezuelan arepa without queso llanero, and it'll all come together momentarily, guys. So you'll see.
That's actually a good one. You know what? I'd have to look further into that. Because Venezuela is heavily known for a lot of cheeses. I'm sure the Italians have had something to say about that. just knowing how we're one of the kings of cheese in the world, right. I would be under the assumption that we had some effect there. Probably also the Portuguese. Yeah. Also known for cheeses.
I think, you know, shout out to all my Portuguese out there in the world. I think Portuguese food is obviously very underrated. It's one of the least talked about, I guess, European foods, which
for sure
now is kind of having more of a renaissance, if you will. I'm gonna pass these to you. You can cut them on the sides, just like, you know, around so that we can stuff them. But yeah, I think that's the beauty of food, is you can play around and experiment, and you can really eat your way around the world in any and every capacity. And obviously we've got our beautiful Nduja here, so we're gonna spread that as well. Yeah, I've definitely always wanted to go to Venezuela.
What do you want to see there?
I want to see the falls, and obviously just Caracas as well. I mean, a dream would be able to see like a baseball game there, you know?
Oh yeah, massive baseball culture.
While we wait, we've got our lamb. Should we just have an appetizer, I guess? Let's have an appetizer.
And try a little piece of lamb.
Little piece of lamb, and then we can have a little piece of the Nduja here. And there you go, Anthony. 1 second. We'll put that here. Get your little plate.
Beautifully cooked lamb, sir.
There you go.
Spot on. Yeah, well, with the Nduja too, let's see. Salud.
It's nice.
Where is the lamb from?
Milan's? Yeah. Right there.
Yeah, they have very good quality stuff for sure. No, but that's a good quality store. Yeah. I can usually find most of the imported goods there more than anywhere else. I felt the kick on the Nduja on that one.
Really?
For sure. Yeah. It's definitely a milder Nduja for sure, compared to what I've tried before, which I'm not complaining about, because you actually can use more of it. Because otherwise you kind of underutilize it because you're worried about it being too spicy. Yeah, we'll see how my experiment went here with the arepas.
Should be alright. Oh.
All right, so we made an audible because these are homemade arepas, my first time making them. I'm definitely not gonna be able to cut these open probably properly in the middle, how they're supposed to be served. So we're just gonna make them prettier, actually. Because now you're gonna see every ingredient that usually goes inside, just on the outside. So it's almost like a tostada.
All right, guys, this is what we got so far with our little audible. Our lamb looks nice.
Sorry, guys, not a Venezuelan arepa maker here yet.
That's a key word. All right, thank you.
Give me some more practice and we'll get there.
We're gonna put our cheese and we're gonna just get this thing going.
The lamb is spectacular. Very, very nice. Nicely done.
Cute. Let that cook for a couple minutes. And then we're gonna put our Nduja on actually. So we're gonna put a little bit of Nduja on the top. And then we're gonna do another over here. And another on here. And we're gonna get this thing going. In a way, we got our little Italian flag as well.
That is true. This is a true Italian-Venezuelan. Do they actually, I don't know that one. Do they eat a lot of lamb in Venezuela? In Venezuelan culture?
That I don't know.
I'm not really sure. That's definitely much overall where I usually see lamb is heavily in the Mediterranean cultures. Like Italian, especially Southern Italian, Greek. A lot of the Middle Eastern cultures too. So it's a great meat. I know a lot of people don't really love lamb.
They think it's a little too strong. But
Yeah. But I mean, it also depends. Like they always say, like when you.
There we go, sir.
Wow, that is beauteous. Look at this. Oh, wait, I got you.
That would have been bad.
Though my finger was there, fortunately.
There we go.
But yeah, this is a beautiful little. It is. It's kind of an Italian flag with a pink addition.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, let's give it a go, man.
We're gonna just. Well, that's hot. You have to let that sit for a second. Where's the olive oil from? Buy Whole Foods or something?
No, actually, where did I get it? I think I got it from Doris.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because I never tried this one before.
Tuscan too.
Yeah.
They're about the only. I'm trying to think who else produces olive oil up north. Genoa has some, or Liguria, I think.
A lot of people claim that the Tuscans are great. I think Puglia and Calabria are probably the two best, in my opinion.
Who gives 50% of olive oil production in Italy?
It's very good.
50%.
That's a resurging place right there too for a region.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go there. Everybody.
Yeah, it's that. I'd say that in Calabria.
Yeah, Calabria's getting more. I feel like Americans, not as much yet, but a lot of Northern Europeans have gone there. Like where we have
some
our
Germans.
we have our little seaside town. There's so many Germans and Russians historically.
Yeah. But I feel like that Northern Europeans end up finding those Southern European gems. Like you look at the British in Southern Portugal,
Yeah.
also in Southern Spain.
Right.
They're all over there.
Crete too.
Yeah.
Majorca,
Yeah.
all those places. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think Germans too. I think Croatia was kind of discovered before, same thing by Northern Europeans, before Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of set the standard.
It was
All right, this has got to be good by now.
Let's see. Go for it.
All right, we're going to try this baby.
I can still see the seam. It's good.
That's spectacular.
We'll take the nodding. We'll take the nodding. I'll have some lamb. Not for you, my friend. That's for you.
The sauce is really good, John. I like the combo too. You have spicy, you have kind of acidic, you have sweet with the lamb and with the arepa.
Exactly, with the corn.
And the sauce is just, I would say, savory more than anything.
Exactly.
It's like the
Not too overtly spicy. I know a lot of the South Americans here don't really like too
Right.
spicy, so this is a good introduction to Calabrian spice.
But yeah, if you're Venezuelan, you're watching this, you gotta let us know your thoughts. My apologies for butchering the tradition here of cutting open an arepa, but you know, Maybe third try is the charm. That was my first.
Exactly.
So
As long as it's good, guys, it doesn't matter if it's messy. Who cares?